what you would need to do if your products, if you want to get basically more sales, and breaking it down into 3 steps.
Step number one is with superior keyword research is now the optimization piece. How are, again, we utilizing the most of the real estate that we're offered from Amazon? One of the tactics that I like to use and encourage is search term isolation. Each month, on average, you're looking at 1 million of the top search terms on Amazon.
What do you think right now for somebody who's still on the fence of whether they should start a business online, and in particular on Amazon?
Welcome to Power Your E-commerce Business, the go-to series for busy entrepreneurs like you. Product research, sales, marketing, branding, shipping and logistics. We share knowledge and information every week from top experts serving the MENA region to help you power your e-commerce business. How can you improve your sales and your listing on Amazon? In this episode of Power Your E-commerce Business, I'm interviewing Troy from Seller.Tools, and we're going to be going through his step-by-step process of how you can be improving your sales right now, and all the money that you are leaving on the table, what you need to do in order to improve your conversion rate and to get better results on Amazon. Are you ready? Let's get going.
So Troy, thank you so much for being part of our Power Your E-commerce series. I'm so excited to pick your brain with everything related to Amazon, because you are really such a fantastic educator, communicator, masterminder, all of that. But before we get started, and before we talk about, the 3 steps and all of those juicy details that we're going to be talking about of how somebody can improve their sales on Amazon, tell us a little bit more about yourself, and most importantly about Seller.Tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Crystal, for having me on. I'm excited to be joining you. So a little bit about me is I started selling on Amazon back in late 2014, which in Amazon years, like dog years, is forever ago. So I'm one of these Amazon old timers where things were a little bit different. And I got started in the health and beauty space. And so I was scaling a brand at that point in time, and ended up exiting that brand after about 2.5 years, and then moved on to consulting and advising for other brands, really aiming for, and through my network, looking at notably some supplement brands that we're just looking for guidance for optimization, what's working on Amazon on platform. And through the opportunities and doors that opened up, ended up syncing up with my now partners at Seller.Tools, where we develop tools and solutions for Amazon sellers, and what can now be considered kind of an all-in-one suite. We touch on optimization. We have some unique data, automation as well. So thinking about, as brands grow, how do you keep a small team and then still scale and hopefully beat your competition? And that's really our focus through tools. I like to say that we are a platform that's by sellers. It's truly, what did we want? What's going to give us an advantage? How does that show up in the tools that we can share with the community? And then, give us an edge, and by doing that, give our users an edge as well.
Incredible. I always love to hear the backstory, because I know the best tools are actually created out of a need and a necessity. And who knows better than Amazon sellers what needs and necessities we actually have. So, Troy, when we discussed what we're going to be talking about in the video and everything, that our main focus as Amazon Seller Society is the Middle East. And it's very, very, very interesting to be focused on the Middle East and more emerging markets rather than focusing on the larger markets, because this is where I find people need more guidance, and people are able to scale and grow very quickly in a marketplace that's just emerging and starting out. And for that reason, we thought the best way to, give some value was to talk about what you would need to do if your products, if you want to get basically more sales, and breaking it down into 3 steps. So I'll hand over to you. Take it from here.
Wonderful. All right, will do. And yeah, what I will share is that really what I've aimed to put together and what I'm going to be covering is that it's really market agnostic. This is things that you can do whether you're selling on .com, the major EU marketplaces, burgeoning and emerging marketplaces. So I really want to encourage everyone to think about, hey, this can be applied no matter where my footprint is in the Amazon ecosystem. So with that, let me go ahead and bring up my screen. So again, this is going to be 3 steps to more Amazon sales in 2022. And Crystal, as you were kind enough to let me cover a little bit of my background, just again, a quick summary of me starting in 2014, was able to exit that business for multiple 7 figures. So was really, again, a great time to get into Amazon, really cut my teeth in fairly competitive spaces. So it really served me, and it does to this day, of thinking about what is on the bleeding and cutting edge. Again, consultant for 8 and 9 figure brands, and currently a co-founder at Seller.Tools. So first things first, when we talk about selling on Amazon, what is the tip top of the mountain? What is what we ultimately want to achieve when we add our products into the Amazon catalog? It is achieving organic rank. This is when Amazon is literally sending us sales because we are ranking for existing keywords or search terms. We're capturing that buyer intent that shows up in the form of those customer searches. So we have to start. Step number 1 is with superior keyword research. And I have a little asterisk there. Of course, Seller.Tools, we have tools for how to effectively complete keyword research. But what I want you to think about, and again, my bias is going to show here, is essentially the strategy. I'm going to break down some of the tactics when it comes to superior keyword research. But think about it really, I think, at the strategy level, how this could be applied no matter what tool you use, as long as it can help you achieve some of these outcomes.
Yeah.
So the tool I'm going to start with is called Real Reverse ASIN. This is what we refer to and what you would notice with access to Seller.Tools called R2A. And this is our reverse ASIN tool, which has now really been a proven methodology for kicking off your keyword research. So just to quickly break down this example, what this again allows you to do is see the keywords that an ASIN ranks for. So if we run a search against those ASINs, which becomes our target ASINs, we then can start to analyze some of that data as a really solid launching off point. And so I really kind of have to break down what a reverse ASIN does again in a nutshell, is that we take those top highly visible competitors, see which keywords that they rank for. And then I've got a little asterisk there as well, because it's important to note that depending on the tool that you use, there's specific logic that goes into finding and capturing the keywords that they rank for. Is that going to give you, for a specific ASIN, the keywords that's ranking in position 289th? And is that relevant to you as a seller? That's a question that you'll want to ask and think about when you're using a reverse ASIN type tool. Then step 3 is really how you're working with those results. Now that we have the keywords for, in this case, again, our top highly visible competitors. So one of the biggest benefits of running a reverse ASIN search and using it as part of your keyword research is that it delivers relevancy. Because again, we're saying our top highly visible competitors for and against our product, who's owning that market share and capturing visibility for relevant search terms. We want to, of course, have visibility and see what those keywords are. So relevancy is a really great first step, that essential first step with reverse ASIN as part of our keyword research. Now, however, one of the common keyword mistakes or challenges is the priority struggle. I kind of like to consider this the 2 pillars of really effective keyword research. You've got relevancy, but then you also need priority. Well, that's great. These are highly relevant keywords, but then what do I do with them when it comes to organic optimization, my PPC efforts, and so on? One important note here when it comes to first-party data, what I mean by that is Amazon data, is that each and every month, with the addition now of Amazon rolling out brand analytics, which is sort of the olive branch of Amazon data for keywords, that approximately each month, on average, you're looking at 1 million of the top search terms on Amazon, broken down, of course, by search frequency rank and a few other unique data points. But that's important to think about when we consider keyword priority, because again, now that we have more Amazon data, we can start to see within the catalog what search terms are highly sought after Yes, within a month, but then also month over month. So one of the really intuitive ways of tying in relevancy, which reverse ASIN gives us, and brand analytics, which gives us the signal of priority, is to complete that two-step process of, again, taking our first step here of running that reverse ASIN search against our target ASINs. And in this example, it's actually a product I used to sell, hyaluronic acid serum. We can then very easily come down, whether, again, we use a tool like Seller.Tools or we have this approach using the tools that we are currently tapped into, is that we can very easily complete those 1 and 2 steps as a very solid launching off point. If you're familiar with the Pareto principle or 80-20, this is a really healthy way of kicking off your product research because we're getting those 2 pillars knocked out really fast. We're capturing relevancy and we're defining priority, especially with Amazon data. And you're hearing that from me, even as somebody who is a co-founder of a platform that provides accurate search volume. We also know that brand analytics, Amazon data really takes the cake. It's really the most important source of data. So a slightly shameless plug here where I have broken down this process in what I call 5-minute keyword research, because you're starting to see how simple this is, right? It's this 1, 2, well, I guess in this case, 4 steps as we break down here of being able to knock out our 80-20 of keyword research, where again, we take those top competitors, we see which ones, what they rank for. We sort by brand analytics. Then we fold in this next step. Again, I've got 2 other points to cover for more sales for this year. And this is really where we take our keyword research and we take those keywords and we think of what do we do next? We've identified highly relevant keywords by priority, but then we take on what I refer to as a war focus. I'm going to break down this analogy a little bit more, but I think it helps to make this point a little bit stickier so we think about how we actually use those keywords that we've determined are important. And this is the analogy, as I like to refer to it, is that you really want to organically optimize your listing on the premise that you want to win the war. This is when you sell a garlic press, you're using garlic press aggressively, you're placing it in higher weighted listing elements, and you want to win that search visibility. But when it comes to the battles, this is when you start thinking about utilizing that external traffic. How are you winning and segmenting some of these keywords for your PPC efforts? This is where you fight those battles to win the larger war.
Incredible.
And this is, again, Crystal, there's 2 different ways of thinking about how keywords come into play. Some of our keywords, our main keywords, may be immensely obvious. We know those. Yep. And this is where, with battles, it may change. You may have to dig a little bit more into longer tail keywords, variations to get more of those keywords ideas. So again, this is the idea and the concept that you optimize for war and you fight the battles. And war is, again, your main, more obvious, but extremely important keywords. And the battles is really where you start to capture more of those longer tail keywords. And again, when this translates into the actions that you take in your business, external traffic, often, if you're driving traffic now with Amazon attribution, some of the additional resources that Amazon offers, this is where those longer tail keywords are going to be crucial, where again, you have a stronger likelihood if you can welcome those sessions, convert that traffic, you can win some of those battles. You can really position yourself to ultimately, at the end of the day, as we all want to, aim to win that war. So what's important, again, when we think about winning the war, is the weight of listing elements. This is very crucial because if we do that 2 steps of our proven reverse ASIN methodology, we need to place those highly relevant war-focused keywords in this order. We know that Amazon rewards specific listing elements more than others. So with our title and towards the front of the title, we know we need to have those really effective and important main keywords. And then we have subject matter, search term, bullet points, and then description or A+ EDC. And so again, we can plug this in, and we use a tool called Listing Manager at Seller.Tools that helps us to facilitate this, where both at the word and phrase level, we're thinking again about optimizing for war, but in the order of the weight of listing elements. So we know for our title, again, we plug that in, for our subject matter a little bit further down, search terms, and so on, because we want to make this process fairly simple with both the approach with keyword research and the organic listing optimization. So one of the other common and potential keyword mistakes is not using Amazon data. As I touched on with brand analytics, that's a source of Amazon data that can be either underutilized or overlooked altogether. But where we're also seeing new insights directly from Amazon is the addition of the Product Opportunity Explorer tool. This is still in beta from Amazon. Select accounts do have it. You may find that you'll have to ask by providing your merchant token, request access from Amazon. But this is really enriching and insightful data because, again, this is what is referred to as first party. It's direct from the source. No estimates, no guesstimations, nothing algorithmically that has to be arrived at. This is coming right from Amazon. And what I want to draw your attention to when they provide insights here at the keyword level is they break down what they refer to as niches. And what is a niche in Amazon's eyes? It includes the top products that have cumulatively received 80% of clicks after a customer has entered any search term in the given niche. And I marked out here the number of top clicked products. And I did that because I think it's a good exercise of wondering within a niche, especially as you look at your own products or within, as Amazon terms it, your own niche, how many products you would assume would make up the top clicked products. And the number is relatively small. And I view this as a signal from Amazon when it comes to search relevancy and results. Anytime a customer searches a keyword or phrase, is that we really should expect to see fewer and fewer results over time. Amazon there's no reason for them to deliver 1,000, 800, 600, 500 results when through their own data and through their own validation here, on average, anecdotally, this is me using this tool rather frequently, that we see about 20 being the average number of top click products. So it's a relatively small number of top click products making up any given niche. So again, this is a really strong signal. As we get more Amazon first party data, we sort of have to say, well, shoot, is Amazon going to continue to provide an abundance, a high quantity of results, knowing that customers are validating, interacting, and clicking on only a very small number? It's a better buying experience if they can deliver ultra relevant results that are more conversion ready. Now, one of the other common keyword mistakes that we want to touch on is staring at the competition. I bring this up because this is one of the challenges with reverse ASIN, because inherently in this process, you're utilizing your competition or potential competition to generate results. And so if we say maybe our approach thus far has been 80-20, well, what if we took it all the way across the finish line? What's a good way of making sure we're not falling prey to this possible mistake? It's important when you're doing your keyword research to do some amount of what I call ideation. It's just a fancy way of coming up with new keyword ideas.
Yeah.
Is that running a search with auto suggest? Is that utilizing a tool? Again, I'm plugging one of our tools because it's one I use quite a bit and very frequently, but it is called Keyword Expander. And this is, again, where you can brainstorm and do some of that ideation where it can also be kind of considered auto suggest on steroids. We're looking at Amazon suggested data. That's really great to capture. Keywords before. So again, in this example, we have some branded terms that pop up, but as another example I like to give is that garlic press stainless steel for a product or for somebody selling garlic press would be as relevant as stainless steel garlic press. Those are essentially the same buyer and search intent. It's just the keyword and the phrasing is presented and input differently. But we want those keywords. We want to factor them in for our optimization and PPC efforts. Keywords after, and then other keywords. And then one of the things that we do with Keyword Expanders, we add in the search volume, monthly search volume data to help reinforce some of that priority. We look at word counts, so frequency of words used. And then, of course, we always download and can parse this data to have that supplement some of our reverse ASIN results as well. And so with the addition of doing some of that keyword ideation, it's also important to note to not overlook harvesting keywords from your PPC. If you're running PPC, we know CPCs, the budget, the spend, the investment that's required, as that increases, you want to extract as much value from that as well. And this is where looking at your search term reports, harvesting winning keywords, Adding keywords, as we'll touch on, another recommendation for how to approach your PPC is making sure that you're actually harvesting based on the results that you're getting from your PPC. So to really kind of break some of these key points down, major takeaways, we've touched on, of course, relevancy first with an approach like utilizing a reverse ASIN, realizing some of the priority shifting of the idea of battles for some of your longer tail keywords versus the war when it comes to optimizing, using the weighting of listing elements and plugging in those main keywords. Amazon data really being the focal point here, getting away from any sort of estimates and looking at brand analytics, and definitely Opportunity Explorer is another area where we're going to continue to harvest insights, but I think it's going to be on brands to also tap into that data. And then harvesting again based on performance, extracting as much value as you can out of your PPC efforts. So that's a little bit of an insight and a big major step when it comes to for the first step with 3 steps that you can take to really set yourself up for success and generate more sales. Mm-hmm. The other, and this transitions nicely as we do keyword research, is now the optimization piece. How are, again, we utilizing the most of the real estate that we're offered from Amazon to generate more sales? If we're doing the keywords right, we're plugging them into our listing. We, of course, want to make sure that our overall optimization strategy is sound and, again, hopefully done in a superior way. One of the common challenges and potential mistakes is completing optimization one time. Even if you've done some of the steps that we've touched on of adding in your keywords, doing that organic optimization, your listing is live, that's great. But over time, how is that listing performing and is it optimized to its greatest potential? So that's a very important key area to create those systems, those processes to stay tapped in to the optimization potential of your listing. But things have also changed in this sense, where with keywords, we've touched on things that Amazon has now provided of new resource, that first-party data, where when we talk about listing optimization and product detail pages, Amazon has really made this shift to be more asset and media rich. We've seen this with unique resources for brand registry, Amazon Lives, Amazon Posts, EBC A+. All of those imply that you have really solid media and videos and content that's going to make sure that your entire presence, storefront, detail page, and otherwise, is really as optimized as possible. And I like to kind of refer to this as Amazon sort of going social. And I always like to touch on this in terms of why Amazon may be encouraging and welcoming this type of change, which is fairly intuitive. If I'm spending more time on Amazon, interacting with that media, engaging, I'm probably more likely as a customer to complete a revenue generating activity. I've made that time investment on platform. And as we also know, and it's as equally important, that A9, the search algorithm that Amazon utilizes, it disproportionately rewards what we refer to as page interactions. If somebody, again, spends time on a detail page, takes a look at some of the reviews. One of the examples I like to mention as well is even printing a product detail page. Right-clicking and doing that is considered a page interaction, and Amazon can reward that for a ranking benefit of all things. But that goes to show how nuanced the step of getting the assets right and the media-rich elements of your listing truly optimized. So before we hop to step number 3, I just want to quickly share with you how we approach this through tools. And again, no matter what tool you utilize, what's important here is the strategy and really that key takeaway of assets really mattering in the context of listing optimization. So let me share with you kind of how we approach it and then how we utilize tools to complete this step. So what we have here, and I'm just looking at a sample listing. We're still taking a look at hyaluronic acid serum, just a sample product here. But what I will first break down is what I'm hovering over now, which is the LQS. We didn't come up with a fanciful name for this feature or tool. It literally means listing quality score. And what we give it a score out of is 1,000. And we did that intentionally. It's a fairly high number, but we look at over 35 different variables that really tell us how optimized a listing is. So if we take a look at how this breaks down, we have, again, our listing quality score and our total score. So we can see this listing has a 625 out of 1,000, room for opportunity there. And we break it down into key sections. We look at keyword quality. So again, there's keywords showing up again. And what's important when it comes to keywords on a listing is, yes, of course, we look at character counts. So are we using all the real estate that's available to us for our title, for our bullet points? But we also, and this can often be lacking, we look at the what I refer to as the quantity side of things by looking at character counts. We'll also identify the quality. So if we've used these keywords, we've done our keyword research step done right, we've built out our listing, that's good and great. But in Amazon's catalog, are we performing well for those keywords? And one way that we know that is with keyword indexation. That is, again, showing up in Amazon's catalog at the keyword level. And so one of the really cool things that we do is for each section, so for example, our title, we can check index right here in real time, and it will highlight that listing and let us know if any words or phrases we are not indexed for. This is where you really get both sides, that you want the quantity. So again, the real estate that we're afforded for the title, again, we can see that that box is checked, but without completing this index check right here, real time, right on the listing, we wouldn't know if we're, again, indexed in Amazon's catalog. That's in the quality side of things. Yeah. So we can come down, take a look at bullet points as well. And what you'll start to see is it will change our score right here in real time, because it lets us know without this check, what I like to kind of refer to as an insurance policy is, without knowing this information, we have really no idea if we are relevant in Amazon's eyes with respect to our performance, again, at that keyword level. 100%. So again, we'll complete those checks. We'll make sure everything's good to go on the keyword side. But as I touched on assets, let's spend a little bit more time on these next 2 points. This is the media quality and the EBC or A+ content. So what we look at for the media quality is really those assets. How are they performing, and are they as good as we can make them as the brand owner? Now, again, keep in mind, I ran this on a sample product. You can do this on any product on Amazon, looking at competitors. But of course, highly recommend running it on your own listings. On your own, yeah. Yes, exactly. And so we can see current score 50 out of 120. Definitely room to improve here. So we can see the image count. So again, this is the open image spaces here, where Amazon affords us a total of 9 placements. So 6 out of 9, opportunity to really build that out. One important note, since I've touched on page interactions, let me get this out of the way, is that having a zoomable main image, which again meets the high resolution, or it meets Amazon style guidelines. This is a page interaction, which can positively impact A9 and positively impact rank for our listing. So again, this is not just a better customer experience by getting these media elements right. This is just really understanding also what Amazon rewards at the same time as well. So again, we can see main image, good to go. High resolution for some of the additional images. Again, since we're not using all those placements, we have some opportunities there. Video on image 7, which again is placement right here, if that were to be utilized. Missed opportunity there. Related video shorts. And again, I think, Crystal, again, you've probably seen this time and time again as this trend continues. And this is, I like to use this example, where when you see a lot of these placements, these opportunities to include what Amazon is looking for, it gives you a very clear idea of, hey, maybe this week, these should be prioritized for my listing to make sure, hey, am I owning that space? And related video shorts covers the entire, it's a horizontal bar right on a listing, where if we don't own this, obviously anybody can upload a video and have them own the real estate really forever, because these videos, in the same way as reviews do, own that real estate on my product detail page. They're kind of just hanging out, taking up that valuable real estate, where again, I could use generated content, FAQs, unboxing videos that are branded, that are coming from me, to make the most of this space. So we'll clarify and make sure that open opportunity of if any of them are found from the brand, and are we using all of those open spaces? And then lastly, under the media section, we also look at Amazon posts, which this has been a bit of a moving target. And I can say that from the tool provider perspective, where Amazon has encouraged and utilized posts. And if you have over 10 posts and what Amazon deems to be relevant, so a very kind of subjective determination, is that those can be viewable on a detail page. So we will analyze and see if Amazon has, again, deemed those relevant to present those on your detail page. And again, we'll clarify if so, and then for the open spaces, if all of that is coming from the brand. Then let's take a look at EBC or A+ content. We know, since I've just scrolled past it, it is included in this listing, but let's see how it's performing. And one of the ways that we look at it is we look at both the front end and the back end, because that's truly how you can optimize for this portion of a listing. So again, we look at, has that been found on a listing? We can see that it's in place. How many modules have been utilized? So in this case, not modules, but images have been included. Total of 6 as we scroll through those. Image alt tag optimization. As I mentioned, we actually can look at what's been included on the back end. So this brand, when they've done the back end optimization in Seller Central, what has been the alt tags that they have added for those images, and if they're indexed or not for those keywords. So if I come in here, click on check index, you can actually see this brand has used, in this case, their brand name for the image 1 right here for the keywords. And we also check the index status of those keywords. It's a really cool way. It's almost like a spy type of feature where you can sort of see what's going on in the back end, but then also if they're indexed. And so again, we can see, and I should just quickly, I know I skipped over this on the keyword quality side, but since we can also check the front end, we can look at the index of the words and phrases used here and see if any do pop up. And we notice some red that's showing up here. Stimulate the image. And some of these may or may not be relevant. Again, we don't know until we necessarily run this check. But this is where both the front end right here, as well as the back end, we have absolute clarity as to what words and phrases are used and their indexed status. Let's see if I can bring this back over. There we go. So really nifty feature there that, again, will still include an update to our LQS. But the emphasis, and this is why, just speaking to why we developed a tool that really looks at this, is that asset-rich aspect of listing optimization. Because again, we're sort of assuming we've broken down the keyword side, but that carries through into the organic listing optimization. So if we get the keywords right, we have the ability and the bandwidth to really start getting the assets and the media as primed for success, welcoming page interactions as possible. Then just another quick little highlight before I hop back into step number 3 is conversion quality. I wouldn't want to overlook this because this really plays into, if we're driving that external traffic, we're fighting those battles for our keywords, the conversion readiness is really, really crucial for our listing as well. And so other areas that we look at is, of course, pricing. Are we running a promotion? Are we using a coupon on a listing, as an example? We know that that shows up both in the search results and on the detail page, nice and bright, clear as day. We also know the importance of both ratings and reviews. Again, it's another quantity and quality relationship. So as an example for this product, absolutely killing it on the quantity, doing great on the quality. But then we also want to see for the listing itself, how the top reviews are really set up. Are they set up for success? So of course, we'd love those top reviews to be 5 stars as somebody is considering a purchase and hopefully looking at potentially converting or purchasing for our product. Do they include images or video? There's that media coming up again. Are we encouraging and welcoming images and or video from customers so that prospective customers and potential customers can feel more confident in their purchase? Top positive and top critical reviews. So of course, if we look at top or at all reviews, if I were to click through right here, it's going to, of course, give us the top positive and top critical. We'd love to see that optimized as well. And last but not least, as Amazon has added in, and this can change by marketplace, other country reviews, you would of course love to have that optimized as well. So that's a really quick 1,000-foot view of how we think about and utilize LQS in the context of listing optimization. But what's really important, again, as the point I want to reinforce, is thinking about the assets and the media on your Amazon touch points. Understanding something I think, Carissa, we overlook is that a product detail page it's the only step before somebody transacts with us. They have to hit this touch point. And so we want it to be set up not only, of course, for driving those sessions, but encouraging, educating, and converting those customers as well.
You know what? It's very much common sense if you think about it, Troy, because at the end of the day, most people think, like, I am in love with your LQS tool because you're combining the idea of, yes, of course, customers are not going to convert unless we convince them. But at the same time, I'm so happy that you touched on the fact that we're not just doing this for the customer, we're also doing it for Amazon and the A9 algorithm, because technically speaking, and this is where the common sense element comes in, Amazon has so many products to promote. They need to have a reason, and it needs to be an algorithm related reason as to why they're going to promote your product. So of course, common sense, if I only have 2 images on my listing, Amazon are going to intrinsically know customers who see only 2 images are not going to really convert as much as customers that are going to see 9 images and a video, as an example. So it's right. Because I find that a lot of people think, well, I just put out 6 images. I think that's enough. You know, they get the idea. Customers are going to get the idea based on those 6 images. I can't come up with other images. So breaking it down this way is very important, because we're not just doing it for the customer. We're also doing it for Amazon at the same time. So it's a combination of both, and it's just so genius.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a super strong point. That's I think what we overlook, and especially in the context, the backdrop, especially as we've sort of been known as more of a ranking type of platform, and constantly thinking about how to rank on Amazon. This is literally doing what we all have to do, but just with an advantage. What's the twist? What's going to give me that, even that 5% bump, that compounding over time will help me really thrive in a compare and contrast marketplace. Yeah. So when you
lay it out this way, you just completely understand as a, because it becomes overwhelming, all the things that you need to deal with as an Amazon seller. So just laying it out this way, you can understand, okay, I need to focus on this, very laid out, very easy to understand, and very, like, it's just right there in front of you based on scores and all of those details and elements. And then you can prioritize what you want to work on for this week, and then the next, and then the next, and just get to a point where, exactly like you said, it is a competition at the end of the day. And if you can just get 5% of an edge over somebody else, then, that's much better.
Absolutely. Yep. That adds up. That absolutely adds up.
Exactly.
Well, great. So if we get those first 2 steps done right, I think then we can start talking about, okay, now I'm going to be welcoming and driving more sessions, whether it's on platform, Amazon PPC, pay to play, or through something like external traffic. Yeah. And so what I wanted, and this is really a simplistic way, and I think that's often how we should approach Amazon PPC, because there's constantly new reports and ad types and all this potential complexity where solopreneurs, small teams, it can get really complicated to a fault. And so really want to encourage and kind of break down how I like to think about PPC, and also just touching on one of the common PPC mistakes, because one of the ways that we try to simplify it is say, ACOS is everything. That is all I'm going to focus on. That's my single KPI for Amazon PPC. And it's just not quite enough. And so one of the tactics that I like to use and encourage is search term isolation. And this really allows us to take search terms that we have seen perform. Let's say they have 1 or 2 conversions that have been realized, and there's an opportunity to do 2 things with them. And this is, again, a really simple way of thinking about search terms. I want to drive ROI and performance. This gets kind of back to the ACOS side of things, but that's only one point. The other would be to use to harvest and find new keyword ideas. And again, this is in the context of us thinking about battles, those long tail keywords, those non-obvious keywords, that blue ocean potential there as well. This is where search term isolation really shines. And this is really how the campaign structure is set up. Once you find, or a tool helps you find or even a campaign manager, a 1 or 2 conversions against a given keyword. Because what you can then do is extract that keyword. You can isolate it to run exact match. And again, exact match is that let's perform, let's drive, and either, and again, from your strategy and budget, it's important to note that for exact match, some sellers may overspend because they absolutely have to win visibility on that keyword. But more often than not, they may focus on ACOS. So give me that ROI. What am I getting back for investing on my PPC spend? But then the next 2 match type and negatives are the harvesting. This is where we get new keyword ideas based on that search term we've isolated. So we'll phrase match with negative exact, then we'll broad match with negative phrase. And the beauty of this campaign setup and the search term isolation strategy is, again, it gives us the best of both worlds. We can isolate and drive performance for exact match, and we can harvest new keyword ideas, new search terms based on the proper match and negative placement. And so, again, we have a tool that helps to facilitate this, but whatever tool you utilize, what's important, again, is that approach, is that campaign structure, where if you see a keyword that is converting, you can isolate it, create a campaign that then takes on, and again, this is the search term isolation, just a simplified view of it, of plugging it into your PPC, ideally creating a solid workflow so you can do this at scale. The caveat, the challenge with search term isolation is the manageability of it. And I'm sure if people see this one time, maybe the first time they're seeing it is, oh man, how do I manage that at scale? If I've got each week, I've got 10, 20, 50 new search terms that I'm isolating, and then they're throwing off new keyword ideas, and then I'm managing performance. You really want to create a systematic workflow for your PPC to where you can leverage search term isolation, but then properly optimize and negative match over time. And this is dovetails right into one of the next and common PPC mistakes, is lacking that PPC workflow because you've made it too complex to effectively compete. As we touched on, Crystal, if a competitor has an advantage and their 5% advantage is getting the PPC right and scaling up strategies like search term isolation, for us and our brand, we want to really simplify it. And I think on the whole, some brands can, again, really make Amazon PPC more complex than it needs to be. And it really is that structure of setting up your campaigns, and ideally search term isolation or a sound strategy that is similar will then help you to facilitate optimizing those bids, understanding, again, exact match for ROI focus, and then our phrase and the negative match for keyword discovery, then negating any of the losers. What are those loose ends, high spend, no win keywords that we want to negative? I tend to be a little bit more conservative with those, but of course we have to think about our PPC. What are our objectives and what is our budget? And then lastly, we isolate the winners. And this becomes a very cyclical, scalable process that hopefully through your management of campaign manager or a tool will help you to really achieve. So that way your PPC can be, yes, systematic, but also very predictable for that scale. So Crystal, that's my 3 tips and takeaways that hopefully we'll share with others how they can start generating more sales in 2022 and really beyond. These are evergreen factors. And as you can see, even as I touched on the PPC component, it's something that everybody has access to. In some ways, everybody sort of has to do. Obviously, PPC is kind of the X factor. You don't have to run Amazon PPC. But if you can approach these key and important areas, the foundational areas, with some clear advantage, you really can let that compound for your visibility, for the conversion readiness, for the scalability of things like Amazon PPC.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Troy, for all of your insights and knowledge. How can somebody get free access? They just go into Seller.Tools?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Find us. It's Seller.Tools. We're also in the Chrome store. So Seller.Tools Chrome extension, you'll be able to tap into free tools like LQS and others. But we are what you consider a freemium model. You can start right away, get access, get the value, and then we want to grow right alongside you and with your business.
Thank you so much to Troy. Fantastic interview. I enjoyed talking to him so much and all of his insights. If you want more information about Seller.Tools, you can find, of course, like always, all of the information in the info box of this video. I'll see you in another video with more information. Bye.